Hi, I'm Ellie, and earlier this year I spent 4 months travelling in my self-converted Toyota Hiace Arcadia, and I've been documenting my whole build and my van life here on my channel. And this might be my last video for a while, and I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone for coming along on this journey with me. And if you're only just joining me, then all of that is linked in the description. But yes, I've been coming to you from my room in London for the past few weeks. So this video is going to be a little bit of a vlog about how I got here, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about why I moved, why I ended van life, what's happening with the van, and what's next for me. I'm Ellie Wilder, and you're watching Wilder in Motion. So the first thing that I had to do was head back to Sydney so that I could pack. So starting from around Cairns, I had a couple of days to drive back to Sydney. So it was basically constantly driving. This was one of the places that I stopped, Ndara National Park, which used to be a volcano, but now it's just kind of a mountain that you can walk up, and it was good to be able to stretch my legs. It was a very eventful few days of driving. I went more inland, so through some more rural areas, which was really interesting, really scenic, and a whole completely different experience. So I would love to do van life again in some more rural areas. This was just one of the many unsealed roads that I went on. I did run into a bit of trouble with my fuel tank cover coming off, but someone was able to help me tie it back up, and that lasted until Sydney. And I also took Arcadia across a water crossing, which I did not plan on, but it was there and I had to cross it, and we did make it. So I was very thankful for that. Before I continued heading further down south, and that is the result of driving at night covered in bugs. Then I had a week to pack up my stuff once I was back in Sydney and head to the airport. I hadn't been to the airport in ages, and it was super quiet. Most things were closed, and the plane was really empty as well, which was good. So I had a spare seat next to me so I could stretch out a little bit for the 23 hours that I would be up in the air. I went via Tokyo, which was basically completely closed. It was 2 a.m. and most of the airport had just shut because of COVID. This is taking off from Sydney for the journey ahead, but honestly, 23 hours didn't seem like that long when I had just driven for 4 days straight. And this is my travel pillow. I highly recommend you invest in a comfortable one. And then I landed here in London and moved into this place, which I'm currently living at the moment. So first of all, why did I move? Basically, I've been planning on moving to London for a long time, and I was really enjoying van life, but I kind of just needed a next step, and I also didn't want to do van life in the winter, which was definitely a good call because as I was driving back down south towards Sydney, it was getting colder and colder every night, and I don't think I would have managed winter in the van. So it just seemed like the right time to give myself a next step, and that's why I decided to book my flight to London. And I'm really glad I moved here. I'm enjoying the events happening and the nightlife and the markets, and everything is just starting to open back up now properly, and it's just really vibrant and there's lots of people and culture here. I originally chose London because I've been here many times before and I really liked it here, and I trained in media and I used to work in media, and so it seemed like something that there would be more work here. But while I was traveling and since I moved here, I've discovered a passion for women's rights, and so now I'm employed full-time in that space and I'm really enjoying it. Sometimes I do miss van life for sure. I miss the Australian landscape, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to see a lot more of Australia before I left, and there's so many more places to see. I didn't get to the Northern Territory this time around or down to Melbourne, and there's still so much more of Queensland, and I've never been to Western Australia, so I have so many more ideas, and I am very confident that I will do van life in Australia again. I've been considering it here for Europe, but like I said, it's not very pleasant doing van life in the cold. There are options like heaters and things like that, but also just being somewhere where I'm familiar with the culture definitely helps, and I think Australia is very van life friendly. So I will definitely be doing van life again one day in Australia. Having said that, it is nice to have a hot shower, flushing toilet, to be able to stand in my bedroom, so those things were nice to have a little bit of a break from, but ultimately van life was an amazing experience that I would definitely recommend to everyone. The whole thing, the conversion process, the traveling, the freedom, it is absolutely amazing, and if you have the opportunity to do it, I would definitely recommend you do. Unfortunately, I will not be keeping Arcadia. It's time for her to move on to another traveller. She has so much more of Australia left to see, and it's kind of sad. I put my blood, sweat and tears into that van, and it does kind of suck to have to say goodbye, but I think it's right that she continues to travel around, see as much of Australia, and get some good use out of my hard work of that conversion. And finally, thank you for coming along on this journey with me. It's been an absolutely wild ride and an amazing experience. I'm so glad that I did it, and thank you so much for supporting me and coming along on my channel. As I said, this isn't necessarily over forever. I think I'd like to do some more like reflections on van life or some of my favorite places that I went to visit, or who knows, I might have some more content to make about my life here in London, or I do hope to travel around Europe when it opens back up. In fact, van life was an alternative to a Europe trip that I had planned pre-pandemic, so I will definitely be doing more traveling, so there certainly could be more travel vlogs or other van life content or anything like that coming up. It just probably isn't going to be on as regular of a basis, but you might as well stay subscribed. It's free, so you will be able to see and be updated if I do end up posting something in the future. But this is going to be a see you soon, but just not necessarily every week. I would much rather bring you quality over quantity content, so that's why I'm going to be waiting on that. If you have any questions about my van life in general or anything, you can leave those in the comments and I'll either reply to you there, or if I get enough I might make a video answering some van life Q&As. But otherwise, another big thank you for coming along on this journey. So make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.